Alright, boys and girls, welcome back to the drive-thru. We're here with kind of a sneaky, tricky proof. It took me a while to figure this out, thanks to the help of Mr. Pletz. Let's try to walk you through what we're going to do. We're trying to prove that RIB is a right triangle. One way to do that is to prove that angle 2 is complementary to angle 1. So then I started thinking, what we need to do is prove that angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. If I prove that angle 1 is congruent to angle 3, then I can substitute and say that angle 1 is complementary to angle 2. Does that make sense, Carson?
Yes.
Alright, so over here on my left, I'm like, listen, my side goals. So how could I prove that angle 1 is congruent to angle 3? Well, Mr. Pletz, this is what Mr. Pletz helped me with. I could probably prove that, oh, that's too thick. That would be Marley's fault. He was in here changing my settings. I think I need to prove that that green triangle, Carson, is congruent to this peach triangle. And if I do that, can you see where I could get the CP-CTC for 1 and 3? So then my secondary goal, meaning before I can prove this, I think I need to prove that triangle IRD is congruent to triangle DBI. Okay? So then it becomes like, well, how am I going to do that? Well, this is given. This is given. And this is reflexive. Excellent. So now I got my plan. I'm going to do side, side, side. So, step 1. BI congruent to RD. RI congruent to BD, and that's given. I may not have enough room to get this whole thing in. We'll see. I'm going to have to scroll down. No big deal. Step 2, ID. Oh, yeah, I did. Thank you. I'll just include it later. Okay? ID is congruent to DI. You could have put ID there. In my class, I don't really care if you switch the order or not. And that's reflexive. Okay? Reflexive property. Alright, so that now I can say that triangle IRD is congruent to triangle DBI by side, side, side. Okay? Now I'll say that angle 1 is congruent to angle 3 by CPCTC. Now I'll say that angle 3 is comp to angle 2, and you're right, I should have done that earlier, and that's given. Now I can say that angle 1 is comp to angle 2. What's that, Carson? Substitution. Okay? I took out angle 3 and I put in angle 1. What allowed me to do that? Angle 3 is equal to angle 1. Number 7, I can say that angle RID is a right angle. And my reason would be 2 adjacent angles that are complementary form a right angle. It's kind of like the converse of a theorem. That is a theorem. And then finally, I can say that angle RIB is a right angle. Sorry, triangle RIB is a right triangle by definition of right triangle. That's a little messy, but there it all is right there. I hope that helps. Boom!